Welcome. This is the Property Preservation Insider Show. So, last week we wrapped up our warnings about which companies you should choose to work with. Plus, we went over the classic beer can house trash out, a trash out you have to see. If you missed it, be sure to catch last week's show. Today, we're going to dive into the most unbelievable but real horror stories, from crews breaking into the wrong house, to subcontractors ripping out the neighbor's landscaping, as we try to expose bad training and greed that are creating chaos in the property preservation industry. So now let me turn it over to Brian and Mary. Why don't you guys introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Mary. I'm with Steel Preservation.
Hello, my name is Brian. I am with Elite Preservation. So, welcome everyone this week. We're a little bit late. We do apologize for that. Had some wonderful technical issues. Again, life would not be fun without our daily problems. So, we're going to dive deep into the preservation industry. What's wrong with it? What's the problems with it? So, we had recently acquired a property through one of our clients in Maryland, in Carroll County, Maryland, to be exact. If anyone down there, how you doing? We'll be looking for you. So the situation comes into play where we received a work order to go to this property and begin our process of bids, securing, to make sure everything's good, everything's wonderful. The property was listed for sale. And lo and behold, we get to the property. None of the locks are the proper HUD codes. The lockbox wasn't coded properly. The one lock, which was hilariously funny, the deadbolt, actually had the key portion, which is normally on the outside of the door. Imagine that. The contractor put it on the inside of the door. So literally anyone could walk up to the outside of the door, turn the latch, open the door, and go into the property. Now, this is common sense. We giggled, we laughed, but the sad part is we see this stuff every day. And people get paid for this every day. But the plot thickens. So let us move on. So this property is basically an old farmstead. Grandma and grandpa owned the house. There was another building to the back, which was a barn or storage facility at some point. They turned the property to the rear into a home for more family members to live in. Eventually, the family broke it apart, and there was a front house and then a rear house and then some storage buildings and some land. So the building was chopped up. The land was chopped up. It was surveyed. It was deeded. It was deeded out separately. Everything was done. But again, you had a house here, and then you had a house here, literally within 100 yards, 200 yards of each other. Basically, if you walk off the front porch, lay down and stretch out, you're literally on the neighbor's property. So an order comes through for securing. And again, another tool that the banks use is basically abandonment of property. As we've talked about in previous episodes, where we've talked about evictions, we've talked about cash for keys. The other option, again, is when the properties become vacant, they send contractors out to perform initial services or an initial secure. This is a first time going into a property. They normally send inspectors out. They normally post the property, send a lot of letters, and go through their procedures. So as a contractor coming onto the field, you have to use the latest technologies and research information, which we'll touch base on a little bit later on in the show. But particularly with this house, nothing was done properly. Nothing. The numbers for the house, that the correct house was on the house. Okay, 1234 Main Street. Got it. The company, the National Preservation Company that received the work order, sent a contractor out that did not do any of the proper steps to making sure the job was done professionally and correctly. Did he talk to the neighbors? No. Every neighbor around that property has lived there for more than 10 years. Did they do the GIS mapping survey to find out property lines and property ownership? No. Did they use the greatest tool that we have in our arsenal as preservation technician. Their brain? No. So, come to find out, they go into this home, which is under renovation and construction. We find that a lot. So, again, the power is going to be on, but the house isn't going to be fully furnished and looking gorgeous and beautiful. No, it's being constructed. It's being worked on by the family. They had tenants in there, and the tenants left. The family started to do some renovations. They had a leak, so they're doing some renovations and getting the property resituated to re-rent. The preservation company that they sent, which we do not know, the boots on the ground, neither of them did the work properly. The national client did not verify anything, did not do anything, did not do anything involved to making sure the contractor, the boots on the ground, did their job properly and had all the information possible. The boots on the ground, again, did nothing. But we say, hey, it looks right. So even though there are 5 or 6 houses literally within 400 or 500 yards of this house, we're good. We're just going to break into this one because it looks abandoned. Did they talk to the neighbors? Did they do anything? No. So then when they went into the property, they drilled out the locks. They did a destructive measure, put new HUD locks back on, to put their lockbox on, went in, did the winterization. They damaged the pump. They damaged the water heater. Okay. So they turned the power off too to the entire property. So that way the refrigerators that actually had some food in there, it was all spoiled and rotten and disgusting. Weeks go by, the homeowner shows up, and lo and behold, finding out this chaos, this mess, goes in, breaks back into her own home to deal with the situation, calls the cops, calls all kinds of stuff. And this person literally now has a drama to deal with because the wonderful company that the Nationals sent in robbed the house. Why? Took tools, took ladders, took supplies on a house that they were not supposed to be in. In fact, the best yet of the entire story is there was no mortgage on this property. And the house the contractors were supposed to go to were literally on the other side of my office, 100 yards away. Like I say, you walk out of the front porch of the house they were supposed to be in, lay down and stretch out, you're on that neighbor's property. It gets better because there was a shed also on the property, of the incorrect property that they went to. And during the eviction process of the correct house, once they got their life figured out, these people literally broke into the first's house, their shed, they broke into it again and trashed out all those items, threw it all away again. So this family has been assaulted over and over and over again. Why? Why is this necessary? Why did it happen? Yes, a lot of mistakes took place. A lot of misjudgment took place. Not having proper research, proper training, and tactically doing the things you're supposed to do, no one handled it properly. So again, this person now has to deal with it in court, has to deal with lawsuits, has to deal with trying to retrieve its property or the value of its property back. And this is going to be an ongoing thing for years and years and years now. Why? Why? Because the National sent the wrong person in who did not know what they were doing, did not have any kind of qualification. Now, was this person a direct contractor? Don't know. Was this person just picked up off of Facebook or Craigslist or some other ad service from an offshore regional that is somehow being ran out of a 2-story home in New York or Delaware? Do the Nationals do any kind of serious research beyond a 5-minute interview asking a company how to do the winterization? When the Nationals do not vet their people properly and the regional companies do not vet their people properly, this is what happens. A family is going to have a lawsuit. A family has been disrupted, and all they're trying to do is fix up a property. All because someone did not do their job properly, was not trained properly, and was sent to a property that they should have never been on. The worst part about it, again, is this family is 5 people that own this property, part of brothers and sisters, uncles and nephews. They all have to deal with this mess. you know? And this is where the industry needs to do better in a whole, which we'll get into also during this show. Number one, why are we all here? We are here for money, plain and simple. So when the base contractor, the boots on the ground get paid nothing, you can't have training. You can't have good training. You can't have good equipment. You cannot have the things you need to operate a business properly if you're not getting proper funding, which again, we will get into later. So the national company did very little to deal with the situation as far as giving the person proper information. How many inspectors ran through the property, verifying the address, verifying? Don't know. Was any inspector sent, or was the same contractor just sent over and over again? Was paperwork put up correctly and properly? Was letters sent? Don't know. All I know is some person got a contract and said, hey, we need you to go do an initial secure on this house. But again, they ended up just breaking into a house. Remember, there's a fine line in our industry between breaking and entering and property preservation. And part of our training index, so again, which we will get into in a little bit later, if any crew, any person doesn't feel comfortable, walk away. Walk away. It'll be there tomorrow. It'll be there next week. Send it back. Because again, this whole situation, you have multiple lives affected by poor judgment. And again, I will say this, and I'm going to sell this tool. It will be available on Amazon shortly. It's this guy right here. Let me demonstrate. You knock. You talk to the neighbors. When I showed up at this property for my client, and I'm like kind of judging the whole story, there was paint and there were signs put up on this property. It seems very aggressive. And I'm like, hey, something's wrong here. So I talked to the neighbor. And I found the entire story out within 10 minutes. I knew what house was what was going on, what happened to the property I was supposed to be at. We identified the property very quickly, very easily. 10 minutes, it was all done. But that's what's going on in our industry. Too many people are sending out cheap contractors that don't know what they're doing. And this is the outcome. This is the liability that the nationals are going to have to deal with. And eventually the banks, and eventually it goes up, Who's paying the final bill? Again, is that $1 million lawsuit? No, I have no idea what it's worth. But again, is that a very large lawsuit? Who's going to be paying for that? And where is that money coming from? Things to consider. And again, this is not an uncommon thing. It's sickening. It's sad. But this is not uncommon. Not uncommon at all. This literally just fell into our lap a month and a half ago, and we've been dealing with this situation, cleaning up the mess. And instead of sending a good qualified company and paying good quality money so they can actually have people out there in the field making a good living that is professional, that can spend the time to deal with the situation at hand instead of worrying about, well, I got 3 other grass cuts I'm going to make $5 on, so I better hurry up and grab them. No, they send the cheapest person out there because that's the person that responded to their Facebook ad. And man, I hope it works. That's where the industry is broken. That's where the industry is broken. Between the national clients sending out people that shouldn't be in this industry. And we all know, any of you out there watching this that are seasoned, anyone out there, I know you are laughing right now of the house that you were just in last week when they did a plumbing repair, and you're like, really? Really? Or again, they fixed the roof by some means and it's still leaking, and you're like, I put a bid in. Why didn't they take my bid? You do an initial secure and you get into these properties, and then next week you go back and you do your job, you're thorough, you do your investigations, you write your bids, you tag, you get everything situated, and then you come back and then you find the food that was in the refrigerator that you bidded. And we all know how much of a task that is and the sacrifice we all endure opening the refrigerators. If you know, you know. But they send someone back in, and next you know, the house has been pillaged, the house has been robbed, everything has been going through, everything has been there. And automatically that includes you in that pot, because if there's ever an investigation, your name's going to be on that list. But they continually send these people in, then the copper gets stolen, then the TVs gets taken, the furniture's gone, and then what? Why? Money, time, people they send in. And ultimately, I hold every national client. I hold every national client responsible for it. Because again, we had a house, jump off topic real quick. We had a house side by side, two friends from middle school. Literally got married the same year. They went to school together, graduated together, went into the military together, got married, the same month. They took vacations together. These were peas in a pod, friends for life. One friend passed away unexpectedly. The neighbor is devastated, of course. And then the preservation happens. The companies come in, doing our job, cutting the grass, trimming the trees, making sure it's good. And until another company gets sent in, a local company, and the response of the owner of the local preservation company, and I quote, "This guy's dead. You can take whatever you want." The property is still in his name. The contents is still in his name. And his friend is literally watching these people, these scavengers, come in and steal everything out of this guy's house. Tools, everything. It got so bad, there was a Subaru hatchback with one of those EVA ramps on the back, the power wheelchair. They were loading firewood. They were stealing the firewood. It got so bad. Why? We get contacted from the national company and like, is so-and-so part of your organization? And we're like, no, we know these people. These people are bad. These people are known thieves. We have seen them go around on all of our properties. They have stolen cars. They have stolen copper. They have stolen things out of properties. And they do horrible work. Oh, we're just making sure. We don't want you to use them. Hey, no problem. We don't. We have our own in-house crews. We have a few specialty contractors. You don't need to worry about us. After the police are called and all this other stuff has happened, the police are still, hey, this is not your problem, neighbor. Even though he was your friend, you're watching all this stuff stolen from his house. There's no liability because there's no one damaged because he's passed away and there's no estate set up. So this gentleman's watching everything go. The client is aware of it. They're trying to ban that person, supposedly do the right thing, and then 6-7 months later, we get called. Because, again, everybody knows everybody in this industry. This same company is working for the same national in another territory we cover, doing a bid that we wrote, jobs that we went to, jobs that we provided pictures and bids for. Why? So the national company out there, it's your fault. It's your fault for putting these kind of people into these properties in our communities. Again, Mary, I'll push this off to you. How many times have we heard about a property that is 15 minutes away from any of our offices, and next thing you know, the nationals are sending people 3 hours away, 2.5 hours away, when literally we could throw a stone and hit this house? How many times have we had that problem?
More times than I can count.
It's crazy how this industry goes.
Yep.
And again, there's no value. It's sad. So, Mary, you have another fun one to talk about that we had happen this week. Why don't you jump in on that one?
Yes. So we have a property over in Mifflin County in Mifflinburg. Been going to this property for, I would say, year and a half. It's a very nice little neighborhood. The neighbors are, I've been to this property myself. The neighbors are a very, very nice older couple. They take very good care of their house, take very good care of their yard. One of my contractors went up there for just a simple grass cut over the weekend, and come to find out that the national has been sending another contractor to this property to complete bids that we have put in and they have not approved for us. However, this contractor Again, did not do his research, did not check property lines. There's apps for that you can get online. It's very simple to get on and find out in this industry what your property lines are, to see where you need to be, because trespassing. If you do not stay on your property, it is trespass. You've got to figure out your property lines. This contractor put in a bid for plants that were on the left side of the house. But if you look up the property lines, the neighbor's property line is literally our property's wall, right where
Inches.
very, yes. And he ripped out hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of plants because he didn't do his research on property lines. The neighbor is very unhappy. They put up a notice on our property. They are filing legal action. They are contacting the national client, and they filed a police report, all because their contractor did not take the 45 seconds to look up property lines. And now it's going to be this whole big to do because they couldn't take the 45 seconds to do their job of what they're supposed to do.
The best thing about this story, one of the better things, is number one, the person that was sent there came in a Cadillac Escalade.
Yeah, so it's not like it's just some little Joe Schmo down the street. And that's not even the whole thing. There is a chain link fence that goes around the property, and he put in a bid to fix it, which apparently was approved. Instead of getting the proper materials, he zip tied the chain link fence.
Yes, the dollar store 59-cent zip tie is enough to structurally hold a fence. Instead of, again, baling wire, going in and buying the proper clips that they make for fencing, the metal bands to install it properly to do the job.
They make very inexpensive items to do small, minor repairs to chain link fences, and he used zip ties.
And literally, we were like, "Is this really true? Is this really true?" And it was like it was breaking right there.
Yeah.
And the thing too is, I get back into it. It goes into proper avenues. So we go in. We understand the industry. We have all the pricing points. We've been doing this a long time, so we understand that the work and repair to a fence that we would be able to charge, we cannot charge the same price as a professional fencing company would charge.
Right.
Let's be realistic. But there is enough money if the Xactimate and also the different repair base estimates that you deliver, there is enough money. And these are all set forth by standards that are already in place. And that, jumping into this too, aggravates because the pricing is already set forth. The nationals don't set the price points. They set what they're going to pay you, but HUD sets it. FHA sets it. VA sets it. And I say out there to any congressperson or government HUD official, hey, why don't you guys do some work into that too and mandate quality? Mandate something to where the bottom end user, the guy actually getting the stuff done, isn't getting paid pennies while everybody else gets paid dollars and fuels the greed. This is a multi-billion-dollar a year industry. There's enough money to go around. But the nationals that are now, by the way, the nationals are starting to push that 30%. It's there, people. It's there. If you want signed up, it's not only, you're not getting HUD minus 30, you're getting HUD minus another 50%, and then we're going to take another 30 off of you. Yeah. What's wrong with this scenario? Because again, it's the banks that are getting problematic because the fence repair that was done so poorly causes damage, or the roof leak, or the trash out that was done and all they did was throw the stuff into the yard, which, by the way, Mary, I'm sorry. You got to let them know about because who's going to put plants in the back of a Cadillac Escalade? You know what I mean?
No, he decided to throw the neighbor's plants in their own dumpster.
Wasn't that nice?
that
Wasn't
they
that
had on
nice?
their property. They must be cleaning something out or what have you. But he ripped out all their plants and was like, here you go, right into their dumpster.
Mhm. These are the people that
Instead
are
of
being sent
removing
out.
it from the property like you're supposed to.
Correct. And the other point too is the worst part too is like example when we're responsible when we do our job. So if we are disposing of natural debris, tree limbs, vines, leaves, whatever, grass clippings, we have designated recycling facilities to handle that waste properly. So that way we're not putting it into a landfill, we're not putting it somewhere where it's not eco-friendly. So again, these companies make products. They make mulch. They make a compost and things like that with these trimmings, with all this stuff. So as a business owner, we are doing the responsible thing, not only for our communities to make sure the jobs are done properly. We're beautifying our neighborhoods. We're taking care of that eyesore so the neighbors can see, which we touch base on. But again, we take our TVs to the proper place. We take our paints and our chemicals to the proper place. We take our debris to a licensed facility to dispose of properly and accordingly. But again, fuel prices go up, equipment prices go up, our dump fees go up, but what never goes up? Our pricing.
Our pay.
And even though, once again, I've been in this industry since 2012, we were paid $50 a yard. We were getting $37.50 a yard. That price has been set forth for a long time. And then, we get back into preservation and oh, by the way, now you're $30 if you're lucky on a national level. $20 if you're lucky on a regional. We actually had a regional company contact us. They were willing to pay us $18 a cubic yard for labor, supply, fuel, dump costs, and everything else. Good job. And you wonder why people don't look at the other cabinets. You wonder why people just take the stuff and burn it irresponsibly. You wonder why people just take it and dump it someplace else. I call out to the preservation industry, do better. Do better. From the base contractor to the national contractor to the regional do better. And that all starts with money. So many people throughout the years talk about how this industry has died, and it has. Just really specifically what's driving us to continue this podcast and push the information and try to change our industry as a whole, and you kind of unite us as a group and have a voice, is at the end of the day, people get richer and people get poorer, and the only ones that sacrifice and suffer are our neighborhoods, our neighbors inside of this industry. And it's sickening. It truly is, especially considering last year at this time, this industry took its first bump in 2025 from the Doge hit when they found so much fraud and corruption. They shut the whole thing down for 2 weeks just so they can get in there and figure it out, laid off a ton of people. And then the aftermath of that makes you wonder how many companies that we all know went out of business, how many companies, the national levels, got mysteriously sold magically. How many companies funneled into another company magically? CEOs went aside and retired to their islands in Bahamas and Tahiti. But again, the neighbors suffer because those bid approvals weren't being done. The local contracting companies trying to survive the single man operation, the multi-group operation. How much money was lost because of the corruption of the past individuals? And we calling it out. Not specifically, but we all know. If you take a work order and you log into PPW every day or Proven every day, you know what I'm talking about. And that's the key things. We, the boots on the ground, the people with the pens, the people with the screwdrivers, the people that start that truck every morning and get out on that zero turn every morning and pray they don't hit a dog chain and screw up a belt that costs $100 or demolish a set of blades that are $60, $70, $100. And to get on that lawnmower every day at $4.50 gas, watching your bills go high, when the national clients and the regional clients still collect theirs, they're still getting theirs. They're not absorbing any cost. They're making you pay for it. We will dive in deeper later on in many episodes on what we need to do to make the problem go away. And by all means, please join our Facebook group. I know Facebook. Join our Facebook grouping. Message us on any of our social medias. Let's network. Let's talk. Let's get ourselves together and let's form something, and we can say no. You want 30%? Show me the value. In fact, actually, we had a recent problem, which is hilariously funny. Not large national client. We're like, hey, we can, you guys keep asking about this area. We can take on that area for you. We go there for a few other clients. We can take on that area. We can take on that area. No problem. So they send us emails. They send us work. They know us. We're in the network already. We keep seeing these emails asking for help in this area, and we keep responding. Hey, we're going there tomorrow. We can handle that area for you. No problem. You need to contact your vendor manager. No problem. Hey, vendor manager, can you turn us on in this area, please? Oh, sure, no problem. We gotcha. We're here for you. I'm here for you. You have problems, you talk to me. I'm here. I'm here to fight for you. I'm here to make sure you get paid every dollar and you get every work order. Gotcha. 2 months later, we keep getting these emails and we respond, hey, our vendor manager was supposed to turn this on. We can handle this area for you. It's the same house. Vendor manager responds, oh, I just turned it on. 2 months later. You're fighting for us. You're fighting for us. We had another interesting comment, and again, this talks about the industry itself. We got a phone call from one of our clients, and we missed it. We were on the phone with another client. We were on the phone, I forget what, but we were on the phone. Life happens. We responded back within 20 minutes after the initial business we were handling was conducted and taken care of. Hi, you called. We saw your email. Oh, I have a bid approval here. I have a juicy bid approval here. But I'm not going to give it to you because you took so long. I need someone that's fast and reliable. Well, you can look at our track record and our 4,000 jobs we've done for you. I think we're pretty good. You know what I mean? Licensed, insured. We know what we're doing. The jobs don't go bad. The houses aren't robbed. We break into the right houses when we're supposed to. Your grass looks good. When we do bid approvals, you get great photographs. When you get bids that you don't pay for, we still do great work. And you're telling us that we're not reliable enough? Gotcha. Well, you can have the property. You can have the work for all I'm concerned. No problem. Month later. If we would have gotten that work order, we would have probably had it done in 2 or 3 days. So it wasn't a huge work order.
Nope.
A month and a half later, we checked it on the first grass cut. We checked it on the second grass cut and on the third grass cut. So somewhere between week 5 and 6, the work was done. But this is the attitude that came down from a national client, that because we didn't respond fast enough, we weren't reliable enough. And it took them another 5 to 6 weeks to find the work. Imagine that.
Yep.
We had another property where we did a bid approval. I think it was like January or February. It was cold. Grass cut season hasn't started. It was trimming shrubs, removing some vines, so on and so forth. So we weren't cutting the grass at this property. So, of course, with everything coming on, with life coming back in April and May, the sun is shining, rain is flowing, and the grass is growing. So are the vines and the creepers and the crawlers and everything else. But because we trimmed these shrubs in February, the growth now of the vinage and everything else is somehow our problem. We were threatened with a massive chargeback if we didn't go handle this. You need to work with us to get this problem solved. And I said, well, it's not our problem. I went there. If you look at all these photographs we've taken, it is your grass cutter, not trimming. So again, if he's not coming up close to the shrubs, if he's not coming up close to the house, if he's just making that corner around the deck in the corner of the house, instead of dealing with the area in this little pocket, of course, you're going to have vines growing. You're going to have these things developing. Well, no, that's your fault. You deal with it. It's not my fault, but you want it done for free. So when your other contractor screws up, it's my fault. When you screw up, it's my fault as the boots on the ground contractor. When's enough going to be enough? And this is another thing, it gets into the chargebacks, the penalization for things that are out of your control. These are the things that take out small businesses. These are the things that take out the single person entities. Again, how many of these people can handle a $5,000 chargeback because something that happened that wasn't your fault somehow becomes your fault. And that's where, again, the industry in itself, and industry as a whole, needs to do better in its creation, or again, it will get worse and worse and worse. Companies like mine, we're doing alternative researching now to get out of this field. We're doing alternative researching in here to pick up different clients that are not part of this kind of industry. So, and eventually one day, maybe we'll be out of the industry because of situations like that. How many times have you, as a small business owner, thinking, why am I still doing this? Why am I still driving around putting $100, $110, $150 worth of fuel to go cut 4 yards to get yelled at, to have to go back because there was a piece of paper in the yard? The industry in itself really needs to do better. And a lot of it, too, stems from just corporate greed, because nobody has voices. Because if these people buy up all these contracts from different banks and different organizations, the real estate agents, the smaller companies can't grasp this workload, because again, they're not buying the contracts out for $500 million. But again, the nationals, as long as they are making their money, as long as they keep cutting our prices, as long as they keep increasing their percentages, it will continue. At what point do we say enough is enough? At what point do we say, as an industry, no? And then relying on the next professional to say no, and eventually no one's going to be around to do it. You get into some of the pricing, the getting into that, which is another huge thing, is, the companies will send contractors out there of higher quality to take bids and do bids. And it's going to charge them a price based off of HUD, based off of repair base, based off of Xactimate. But they're also going to find the cheapest person possible and send them in. Then they're going to pocket the rest of the money. They're going to send this package to the client and give them this package worth of work, and they're going to pocket the money.
Yep.
Why?
Greed. They're greedy.
Exactly. And then now you have this outpouring of offshores that are actually going around to large national companies and brands, the large box stores, the large chain stores that you buy your aspirin from, and your medical, your basic home medical supplies and your prescriptions. And they also, your favorite burger joint or chicken joint. The regional companies, the offshore regionals, are figuring out how to get into those contracts. And they're trying to send preservation contractors where other contractors into other divisions and fields. So the convenience store up the road that you buy your hot dog and soda from, they're sending in preservation contractors to fix the leaky roof. And they're paying them preservation prices because they know they can get away with it. Because the offshore regionals came in and lowered the prices so hard that the national companies are like, hey, this is a good idea. If Bob the contractor is going to cut this grass for $30 because that's what this regional is paying for him, we're paying the regional $50. Well, geez, we might as well just we might as well just sign these people up and pay them the $30, so we'll just keep all the money. Time and time again, that's what happens in this industry. It's sickening what I've seen over the past 15 years. And again, if you've been in it, you know it. So, but let's talk about processing for a minute. Another wonderful thing in the industry that can make or break you. So, Mary, I'll let you talk with the processing, because I know you love talking to those processing companies. And again, remember too, please, that read your contracts. If you do have national clients, accordingly to a lot of the rules and regulations, you can't have offshore processing companies. Our processing company is based here in the United States. And again, always remember that. Always be careful, because you don't want to lose your contract because of a processing service that you're doing. So please make sure you're doing your research when it comes to your processing companies.
Yes, if you have a processing company, one of the most important things that you need to do, again, when It's the same as when you're looking for your regionals and stuff. You want to make sure that they are US based. You have to stay away from your offshore regionals. Like Brian said, when you sign up with your national companies, if you read your contracts, they do not allow any offshore processing companies, any offshore, which is kind of funny because I'm pretty sure most of them use offshores as well, but
They do.
yeah, but you're not allowed. We've been through some processors over the years. We have,
Yes.
I believe it was last year, our processors decided not to work over the 4th of July weekend, and we ended up losing a lot of money. So we had to go and research and look for another. And the thing is even when you do your research, some of it sounds great, but until you start working with these people, you don't really, you can say anything about yourself on the internet and emails over the phone, but that doesn't always make it true. Sometimes finding processors is a huge ordeal. The ones that we have now, again, are based out of the US, and they are the best contractor or processors that we've had thus far. The processors that we have, they say that they have background and they say that they've been doing it for 10 years, 15 years, but they were missing simple bids like caps, water caps. They were missing tree trimmings. They were missing all kinds of stuff. They were not putting bids in, and we lost thousands of dollars. You have to be very, very careful when you pick your processors. Also, something else that goes great with this is when your contractors are on site, they are at the properties, they see the damages, they see what's wrong with these properties firsthand. Make sure your contractors are putting in notes on their work orders. Photos, photos, photos. That is the biggest thing in this industry. But sometimes those photos do not give the whole picture. So having your contractor take 45 to 60 seconds out of their time to sit there and type in a couple notes so these processors can put in the correct bids is very, very important.
You know, one thing too, real quick, I want to jump in on this. I'll give you a quick story. 2-story house, 2nd floor bathroom had a leak. Okay. No notes were put in. And again, Mary, I will stand correct. I'll correct you on this one. It doesn't even take that long because you got now the voice to text button. You don't need to type anymore.
Too.
So, but that's one very critical thing is you're right. We are boots on the ground. We are seeing, smelling, tasting what's in that house.
Yeah, I'm good.
And it gets into the point where if you're not conveying the information, 1,000 pictures can tell a story, but 10 words can give a conclusion. Point still being is that there was a company we were being drawn into a bid talking about roofs and roof tarping and so on and so forth. So we go to the property and we're like, no, the roof looks great. And we got up on the roof, took pictures. I mean, roof looks wonderful. I mean, there's not, maybe 5 years old, 6 years old. There's not any delamination. There's no nail pops. There's no grit loss. All the shingles are properly in place. Everything is straight. Everything looks great. Why am I tarping a roof and putting 500 holes in it? Well, what it was is that there was a bathroom leak and the bathroom on the 2nd floor was leaking. And when you look at a ceiling, again, it's a roof leak. It's a roof leak. It's a roof leak. It's a roof leak. And it got to the point where I needed to have a certified roofer go out on his letterhead and say, the roof is fine. Leave it alone. Because again, what kind of liability would we be exposing ourselves? All because information wasn't put in right. And again, it goes into, oh my goodness, Brian, that was so great. Thank you so much for helping out this situation to prevent further issues and damages. So we have all of these wonderful photographs. We have this very detailed report. We have all these wonderful bids that are HUD price points and Xactimate price points. Thank you so much for your hard work and effort. And here's your $15 trip charge. Thank you so much for spending money on processing, fuel, drive time, and everything else. We appreciate you. Cool. Lo and behold, a few months later, we went to another house which was in the vicinity. We're like, we're going to stop by. Now, granted, we didn't have authorization to be inside of the property, so of course we didn't enter the property. Remember, your work order is your key authorization. Without that work order, you are trespassing. Please remember that at all times. Unless you have a valid reason, like I was here today, I forgot my hammer, I need to go pick it up. Of course, that's somewhat of a valid reason. But if you're there on a Saturday night, just figure you want to drive around and visit some properties, it's a bad idea. You can have some issues. But anyway, so point being is we drove by the property, and what did we find? All the shrubs that we bidded were trimmed and nice and neat. The saplings that we bidded were gone. The roof actually was tarped. Imagine that. And there were several other items on the exterior of the property that we could visually see that we specifically bidded, but it was all taken care of by the ghetto contractor, the contractor that is not skilled, that is not professional, that wasn't trained, and actually all of the stuff that they produced, all the trimmings and clippings, we could clearly see from the street that it was just thrown off to the side. It wasn't hauled away, wasn't dealt with, wasn't done. So again, case in point, we went out, we fixed the problem for the bank. Didn't matter. They went ahead, or the national client, excuse me. We went ahead and they basically tarped the roof anyway. Didn't need it. Ruined the entire roof. Again, you put a couple hundred screws or nails into a roof, into a sheathing, you're going to have drama and issues. But again, who cares? And they got it done for the cheapest price possible. And again, imagine that they used blue tarps. If you know, you know. That's okay because a professional company got all the great pictures. We could sell that. And then we just kept our money. Again, problems with some of the industries and processing companies and notes. So,
Yes.
But again, as it gets into, there are so many problems. And when you look at it, it gets into who you're paying, what you're paying, and you get what you pay for. If you send the cheapest contractor to the field, you're going to get the cheapest work possible. And then next week, your boiler's going to be missing. The next week, the door's going to be missing. The next week, all the stuff's going to be missing in the house, exposing that national client to liability. And they may claim, well, we have no responsibility for what contractors do. You're right. But you sent them in. You vetted them. You authorized them. You, the national, you sent them in. You are responsible. And until the hierarchy above them say enough is enough, and until the nationals figure out, hey, wait a minute, if we pay the cheapest price so that way our CEO can have a private jet and we can have a big 40-story building in Texas and Florida and Ohio, you will realize what it is. I say this real quick. There was a company out there, starts with an S, ends with a guard. They were one of the top tier companies back in the day. They were dominating the market. Now they can barely get inspection people to do their inspections because they charged back. They burnt so many bridges. They treated people like crap. And again, the contractors just had enough. So they just stopped. They might get a contractor for a few months, but the turnaround is so horrible that they have to deal with that situation. They're not getting the volume they need. And again, remember, you're only as good as your last job. We get told that so many times by our nationals. We turn that back on you. So, but let's jump off. Let's talk about some occupancy. So we talked about some contractors breaking into a house. We talked about some other good stuff with processing and other things. Let's just talk about getting into the initial secures and getting into that. How do you determine what are the few points of determining occupancy of a house? Now, occupancy basically is someone living there or not. When we get an initial secure, what do we do? How do we find out? What are some of the tricks of the trade that we found out over the years to find out if someone is living there, someone is residing there, someone is still kind of moving in and out, or is it just been sitting there for 5 years? So, Mary, Teach us.
Okay, so we always do research before we go into our initial secures, which I highly recommend. One of the first things that we do is we Google. We Google the house, we jump on Zillow, we look up whatever we can find out about this house. We find out who the owner is, and we do a little research. Has grandma and grandpa unfortunately passed away? Has somebody gone to jail? So first do your research before you even leave your office. There's so much that you can find out about your property before you even leave and get into your truck. After you figure that out, once you arrive on site, some of the main things to look for is there power on at the home? Is the water on? Are there any utilities on? The yard itself and house condition. Is the grass maintained? Was it just cut 2 days ago? Is it 4 foot tall? Is there mail in the mailbox? Is there trash in the trash cans? Are there lights on? Are there cars in the driveway? There's many different things to look for. And most of the time when you go out to these properties, the nationals will already have someone who had put a vacancy sticker or posting on the front window. Not all of them do it, but a good majority of them do. So looking for that also is important. And again, like Brian said, talk to the neighbors. There's nosy neighbors in every neighborhood. We all know one. I'm sure.
Town circle gossip. Yep. Everybody loves the town circle gossip.
They
And they're more
will-
than willing to tell you about that property from great grandfather days till now.
They will know if somebody is still living there. They will know if Jim Bob has been in the house moving his stuff out, or if it's been completely vacant for a year and a half. So neighbors, do your research, check your mailboxes, your trash cans. Make sure you do your research before you even make it to the property.
And by doing that, by spending 20, 30 minutes, it'll save you jail time, lawsuits, liability,
Yes.
you know, and that
We
is
research every initial secure.
There's a fine line between property preservation and breaking and entering. Now, it's the coolest job in the world where you can literally sit there at a $4 million house and start drilling out locks as the people in their $85,000 Mercedes and their $125,000 Ford pickups are driving by and you wave. You know, I've done initial secures over Washington, D.C., Baltimore, New Jersey, Ohio, West Virginia, a few in Virginia, a lot in Pennsylvania where we're based out of. But I find it so very funny that I can go to a golf course area on a $4 million house. No big deal. No big deal. Everybody's good. You know what I mean? Not a problem. I go down into certain areas in Baltimore and down in D.C. where you can clearly tell they're abandonment. And yeah, I get cops called on me, which is a whole other episode too, which we will get into what to do when the cops show up. Because again, doing your research and making sure. And at the end of the day, walk away. If you have any doubts, walk away. It is very simple. At the end of the day, we went to a property here at one of our cities, and the house, it was a row home. And again, some of those are difficult, of course, to walk up around the house, you know, the backyard, so on and so forth. You got to be very careful that you're not trespassing on someone's property. Just because, you know, your national client or your client sends you an initial secure order, number one, remember, once you have that order, it is your liability. It is your butt that's going to be in the sling if it goes wrong. End of discussion. No, the nationals are not going to send their $400, $900 hour attorneys down to help you. Remember that. It is your responsibility to do the work properly. So, again, we went to this house. It was a row home. Couldn't quite get into the backyard. Okay, great. Wasn't in the best conditions, or excuse me, wasn't in the best neighborhood. So finding neighbors was extremely difficult that was willing to talk. You know, hey, does someone live here? Did you see him cutting? But the house was well maintained. The grass was immaculately cut. There was not a scrap of debris, piece of paper, or trash in the yard. I just didn't feel it. It's too nice. It didn't look right. So I walked, sitting in my truck, waiting for the air conditioner to kick on a little bit. And lo and behold, here comes the neighbor. Here comes the neighbor coming out, smoking a cigarette, looking down, picking up a little piece of garbage, putting it in the, I missed, but picking up a little wrapper and putting it in the trash can. But there it was, and he went about his day. So if I go in gung ho and jump over the fence, start drilling out the back door, remember the episode where we talked about the gentleman in Virginia that was doing bank work and ended up with shot? These are the realities of our business. And again, there's a fine line between breaking and entering and property preservation.
Yes.
Do your research. Do your research. The 5 points.
Very important.
Power one, the water one, yard, house, the obituaries, checking out the ownership of the property. And again, final, talk to the neighbors.
Yep.
You do those 5 steps. You verify those 5 steps. Because again, we all have our stories. I went to a property not too long ago. Grass was 4 foot tall. Power was on, and there was a brand new car sitting there. And I talked to the neighbors. The guy was going through a hard time. His lawnmower busted. He was actually going through a divorce and a job issue. So again, he's getting behind on his bills. His lawnmower broke, so he couldn't do anything. You know what I mean? He couldn't get the grass cut. So even though the yard was horrible and maintained, the house had vines on it. That's one indicator that says, hey, this property is foreclosed. The power was on. But wait a minute. There was a vehicle that was in the driveway that was registered. Sometimes, they are a little questionable. Is it the neighbor parking in there? Have that happen a lot, especially towards your larger cities and stuff. It's annoying. But ultimately, it ended up with talking to the neighbor. He's like, John's over there. He's just running through hard times. Like, hey, no problem. No judgment here. We all have those issues. Just letting him know, put a sign out. Hey, no trespassing. I live here. Here's my phone number. And then leave, Because, again, if I would have went in there and started, doing the procedures that I'm supposed to do because I'm not doing my job thoroughly, could I have been shot? Could I have been arrested? Yeah. Could I have waken up some guy in the middle of sleep because he works on night shift? Yeah. I did another house. It was an 87-year-old gentleman was losing his home, unfortunately. House was horribly overgrown. Grass was horrible. And there was pathways. That was the indicator. There was pathways in the grass in between the doors and stuff. So I knew there was activity going to the property. Lo and behold, he was at work. And he had to go back to work because of situations and circumstances, not sure of it all. But ultimately, he's living there. The house looks horrible, but he's there. How do we find that out? The magic tool. Knock, knock, knock. Hi, neighbor. How are you? And when I don't talk to neighbors and I don't have 100%, you go away. You leave. Come back another day. The house will still be there next month when they send you back. One other thing, too, which we did never really spoke about, is one of the tricks that we do whenever we have questions for occupancies. There's our cool little blue tape that we all have like 25 rolls of in our trucks. Tape our doorknobs up. Tape them up. Put a whole bunch of blue tape over the keyhole and over the doorknob. Just cover the whole thing. Same thing with the deadbolt. Now, we're not being excessively stupid, but again, covering the whole entity. So if, Bob and Mary, the homeowner, are coming through, we're going to know about it because they're going to remove the tape to go in. Property preservation technicians, we're not doing that. We're just going to take the doorknob off. The bank putting up a notice is they're not going to touch the doorknobs. You know what I mean? Only someone needs to enter the home. So that's a clear indication of occupancy. That's a clear indication of movement. But Brian, the power's off. No one can live there. The property's condemned. Yeah, but what about that squatter? We ran into another situation where literally we go into a property that is condemned. No power, no water. House looks like crap. The door's unlocked. Gotta love that. Walk into the property. And again, we announce ourselves loudly and boldly. We want people to know that we're walking through there. We want to listen for scurrying and scampering and movement. We want to listen for these things. Are we going to startle somebody? We want people to know we are there. After, you yelling into the house all the time for a few minutes alone is wonderful because it gives that alert. And someone's going to yell back. And that's what happened. There was a squatter living upstairs. That's what happened. But again, if we just popped the lock, walked in like we own the place, next thing you know, we're going to end up with a situation where there's going to be a stabbing, a fight. There's going to be something going on, death. So always take the 5 points of occupancy. Take those very seriously when you do your job. And we have given like a couple horror stories here. What happens that we see on the aftermath. Now, I've never broken into a house that I could not fully verify that it was unoccupied on the outside. There's one property that I got into. No furniture, power's off. The yard was not being maintained, a tarp on the roof, junk and debris, full garbage cans. Come to find out, someone was moved into the upper floor and in one of the bedrooms, and it was like the owner's sister or something. She was already supposed to be out, that kind of situation. But that was the only house that I walked into. But deeming from the outside looking in, everything was telling me that property was unoccupied. But I never talked to the neighbors. So the police were called. Did the work. We left. Once I found out that the property was occupied, immediately left. Took a lot of pictures showing everything in the home. Nothing's disturbed. And I have photographic evidence of that thing. And again, just dealt with the situation. That's the only house I've ever been to. Nobody was home. Actually, she had been gone. From what we understand with the police investigation, that person was there sporadically. So again, yeah, it was still occupied, but not quite occupied. But again, no furniture on the first floor, no food in the refrigerator, power was off. And again, several other indicators from the outside. So as I say, always make sure you do your research. Always make sure you are getting it done and taken care of. And again, it gets into your safety. It gets into the liability. We want to go home. We want to visit our families. We want to see people. And again, you can't do that if you're in jail. So key things, key lessons, make sure you're going to the right property. Make sure you're getting it done right. Make sure that you are doing your property preservation, not breaking and entering. Key points there indeed. So with that,
I think that's a good wrap for today, Brian.
I think that is too. I think we have left a little teaser. I definitely next week we're going to be talking about the ins and outs more in depth of the initial secure process. Each client has their own specifics, but again, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that as the bank uses these tools during the abandonment process. To regain the property maintenance aspect, and then eventually moving through his process of sheriff sale. So we'll be talking about that for a moment. So yeah, again, if you do have any questions or comments, please reach out to us. We are building this network of our local independent contractors to, number one, create unity. Number one, to get a few of our questions answered, hopefully answer a few of yours. But us as the boots on the ground are the ones getting it done. We are also the ones that are being lied to. Oh, we don't send work to other people. You get it all. We are the ones cleaning up the messes from the contractors going in and ripping out shrubs and trespassing and ripping out plants and trespassing on the neighbor's property, breaking into the wrong homes. These are the people that give contractors like us a bad name. And we need to figure out how to, number one, make a better living, make it fair and honest. And again, show the nationals and show the banks, hey, this isn't fair. This isn't right. You're doing us wrong. And we need to stand together in unity to correct some of those issues and keep our problems in the United States with foreclosure industry, keep our money here in the United States by our local contractors working with our local regional companies that work with the national companies and the national banks instead of the money being funneled other places. So till that, the industry will never change. And that's what we need to work on. And that's our passion here on this show, is to develop that and develop those wonderful relationships across the country and possibly even across the world in some aspects too. So
if you have your own horror story, please tell us about it in the comments. And if you enjoyed today's show, please give the video a like. It really helps us out. And if you want to vent about our industry, join our Facebook group. We're trying to build a community with real discussions about the property preservation industry. Also, check us out at our website at propertypresinsiders.com, where we have all our shows, notes, clips, and links to all our social media. Join us next week as we share more about the property preservation business. Until then, see ya.
Have a great week.
Thank you so much for spending time with us. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to follow us and share it with your friends. Got questions? Go to our website, propertypresinsiders.com, and join our Facebook group. We'd love to hear from you.